Ta-da! Yes, I'm back, and you're thinking, why won't this guy go away? Can you please stop ruining my evenings by making me expect to listen to these hour-long streams? No, I can't. Sorry for when did I do Bark at the Moon? So I did Bark at the Moon, I think, on Friday, and it's really got me on an Ozzy kick. And I was listening to Osmosis in the car today for a little drive. And I was like, well, I really shouldn't be listening to any Ozzy because I'm going to have to do these for live streams. And then I thought, well, I could put the Ultimates in on now while I was driving. And then I thought, no, that's going to, I genuinely, I don't want to listen to any. I want to do these on streams. I want to listen to them really objectively, really listen to them and give, actual comments and criticism. Things I love and things I don't love. Yes, Tailed, of course I remembered. I actually felt guilty because I spontaneously decided to do this. And then I thought, oh no, he wanted to make sure that he didn't miss this one. So anyway, hi everybody. I am one of your hosts. What am I talking about? I am your host for this evening, Mr. Levi Clay, and this evening we will be partaking in a listening party. This is very simple. I will not be streaming Ozzy's music on this stream. No, because that would be copyright infringement. I don't agree with those sorts of reaction videos. Shouldn't do them, it's scummy. But if you check out the link in the description, you can go to this particular album on Spotify. You can check out the album, The Ultimate Sin by Ozzy Osbourne, 1986. There's 9 songs of some good rock and roll on this. And I'm going to listen to the album. I'm going to put it on, and it's going to play through my headphones. And I want you guys to press play at the same time as me. I want you to hit play, and I want to listen to this album together. Just occurred to me that I think... Check. That's fine. Just make sure I'm not coming through my speakers. So I want to listen to the album together. I want to experience this together and share in this experimentation, if you like. Share in this exploration. Share in this rediscovery of a classic album. The Ozzy album that is often considered by Ozzy himself to not be an Ozzy Osbourne album. There's definitely a story in this one. And of course, this is Jake E. Lee's second and final album with Ozzy Osbourne. So what I'm going to do is I am going to talk for a little bit, give you guys an opportunity to get the album queued up on Spotify or however else you choose to listen to it. And of course, if you would like to share this, if you want other people to join in on this listening party, the live comments, great fun, getting people really interacting and with each other, and because we're all listening to it together, right? We're sharing in this moment together. So if you want to get more people involved, by all means, share the video, get it out there, make sure a few people are watching because it should be fun. So I'm going to go on Wikipedia. Noisegate's really working now. I'm going to get this queued up so I can talk about the album. But of course, before I do that, I know it wouldn't be one of my streams unless I was sat here going, big thank you to my supporters over on Patreon that bring streams like this to you. Of course, it's 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. I actually came out here to get a little bit of transcribing work done. I thought, you know what? Fact is, I just want to do this stream, so I'm going to do this stream before I get any of the transcribing work done. Yeah, thank you very much for your support, your kindness, generosity. It means a lot. If you'd like to check me out on Patreon, as always, there's a link in the description, and there is a join button next to the subscribe button here on YouTube if you want to become a YouTube VIP, which is basically the same thing, but via YouTube rather than via Patreon. And if that doesn't suit you, you can also head on over to Amazon, have a look for Levi Clay. You will find lots of my books, find lots of my work over there. So, yeah, and most notably, of course, my latest book, 100 slide licks for blues guitar, so check it out. There was actually some slide guitar on Bark at the Moon. It was on the B-side, one up the B-side, but there was some slide guitar on Bark at the Moon, so that was nice to see. Anyway, so yes, I'm going to do some talking, give some people a chance to get online so they can see this, because of course these would probably be more successful if I, scheduled these and made people aware in advance when I was going to be doing these, but no, I'm just going to be doing it now. So on YouTube, I've had a comment from David Ogg saying, "Can't see it happening because I said let's see if the Ultimate Sin can make up for Bark at the Moon." David said, "Can't see it happening. Jake is a killer guitarist. I just don't like the albums he did with Ozzy. There are a few songs that stand out, but overall, I tend to bypass these albums." And I initially would have disagreed with that, but I feel that actually after listening to Bark at the Moon, I kind of agree with that. There are a few good moments on the album. As I said when listening to it, Bark at the Moon I absolutely love. Slow Down I absolutely love. There are a couple of moments that aren't too bad, but there's also a lot of ballady moments on there. Ballady moments on there that I wasn't crazy on listening to now. Which, yeah, super interesting, because I've always loved that album. It's always been one of my favourite Ozzy records, and evidently in my mind it hasn't aged as well as I thought it had. Though I still, would confidently say if I had to put together a best of Ozzy Osbourne albums, of Ozzy Osbourne's music, the song Bark at the Moon is going to be on that best of. The song Slow Down will probably be on that best of, for me personally. But yeah, at this stage, I'm having to say Diary of a Madman is the best that we've done, followed by Blizzard, followed by Bark at the Moon. The question is, where will the Ultimate Sin land in that? Will it be the Ultimate Sin, or as David Locke says, the Ultimate Bin? Let's find out. Well, let's not yet find out. Again, if you've just tuned in, there is a link in the description. Please do go and load the album up on Spotify. We will click play together. We will listen to it together, and you get the idea. Right, so looking at the Wikipedia page, as I say, this is definitely a very interesting album, and is considered, or certainly was considered by Ozzy for a long time, to not be an Ozzy album. It was released in 1986, so Tailed said that was the year he was born. I wasn't born in 1980. I was born in 1988, so he's a little bit. I keep wanting to say your name. You're a little bit older than I am. I'm thinking, No Rest for the Wicked came out in the year I was born. Right, The Ultimate Sin is the fourth studio album by British heavy metal vocalist Ozzy Osbourne. It was released on the 22nd of February, 1986. When's your birthday, Tailed? That's the real question. And it was remastered and reissued on the 22nd of August, 1995. It marks the final appearance of lead guitarist Jake E. Lee, and the first and only Ozzy album to feature bassist Phil, is that Susan? Not sure. Who co-wrote the album's hit single Shot in the Dark. Drummer Randy Castillo, who had previously played in Lita Ford's band, also makes his recording debut with Ozzy. The album was awarded platinum status in May of 1986, so 3 months to go platinum, and double platinum in October of 1994. The Ultimate Sin was the first and only Ozzy Osbourne album to feature Phil Sausan, I'm butchering this one, who co-wrote the album Shot in the Dark. Drummer Randy Castillo, who previously played, also makes it. I mean, that's literally in there twice. Fantastic. So here's the interesting part. This is growing up. How's it going, Scott? When I was growing up, I knew that if you look at Ozzy's live at Budokan, which I listened to relentlessly. I played the DVD of that relentlessly growing up. Absolutely loved that concert. I'm sure when you look on the discography that's featured on there, there's absolutely no mention of the Ultimate Sin, and I was like, well, that's really strange that that's not in there. Susan, let's go with Susan. Yeah, cool. There's no mention of the Ultimate Sin on there. If memory serves me correct, there's certainly places in Ozzy's back catalogue. It might have been that. It might actually have been. I read an Ozzy autobiography type thing when I was younger as well, and maybe it was there that it wasn't mentioned in. Anyway, I certainly thought it was odd that this album wasn't really mentioned, and that's because Ozzy played virtually no part in the writing of the album. So, upon returning from the Betty Ford Centre in 1985, where he had undergone treatment for substance abuse, Osbourne was presented with a substantial quantity of music written by guitarist Jake E. Lee, after having been cheated out of his writing and publishing claims for Osbourne's previous album, 1993's Bark at the Moon. Lee says this time he refused to contribute anything until he had a contract in front of him guaranteeing his writing credit and publishing rights. So, of course, when we talked about Bark at the Moon, Jake E. Lee, we know he wrote most of that album. We know it. There's no doubt in anyone's mind that him and Bob Daisley wrote most of that album. Ozzy doesn't write music, and yet somehow Ozzy is credited as the sole music and lyrics writer for the entire album. So Jake has since said that when it came to recording, right when the recording dates were there, he was presented with a contract that he had to sign. in order to give away all of the rights for his compositions. And if he didn't sign that contract, they would fire him, and just have someone else record all of his guitar parts. Which, I mean, that's about as Sharon Osbourne as it gets, right? I absolutely buy that. So Ozzy away in the Betty Ford Centre, Jake E. Lee writes an album, and it gets pitched to Ozzy, and yeah. So, the lyrics were largely written by long-time Osbourne bassist and lyricist Bob Daisley. Daisley left the band prior to recording after having a disagreement with Osbourne. Shock horror. Prompting the hiring of Susan and as his replacement. Daisley was not credited for his songwriting contributions on the initial 1986 pressing of the album, though this was corrected on subsequent pressings. So again, it strikes me as a very Osbourne management camp type of thing to do. Oh, let's just pretend these guys didn't contribute. We'll just put it out. No one's going to mind. They should have learnt by this point. People mind. You don't do that. So it was corrected. Future Y&T and Megadeth drummer Jimmy DeGrasso worked with Lee and Daisley on demos of the album, but this version of the band fell apart due to Osbourne's commitment to the Black Sabbath summer 1985 reunion concert at Live Aid. Stillo and Susan ultimately replaced DeGrasso and Daisley once recording commenced. The working title for the album was Killer of Giants, which of course is one of the songs on the album. Again, if you've just tuned in, please do head to the link in the description and we will hit play on this album together. We'll listen to it, we will talk about it, we will have some fun. Killer of Giants, after the album song of the same name. Osbourne opted to change the title to The Ultimate Sin at the last minute. On the 1st of April 1986, a live performance promoting the album in Kansas, Missouri was filmed and released later that year as the home video, The Ultimate Ozzy. I don't think I've seen that. In 1987, after the various tours in support of the album had concluded, guitarist Lee was unexpectedly fired by Osbourne's manager, Sharon, Osbourne's wife and manager. The specific justification for Lee's dismissal remains unknown. Bassist Susan also departed, but as Bob Daisley once again entered the fold. So Bob, back and forward, in and out, like his long history of going in and out of the band. Yeah, I've not seen the Ultimate Ozzy. I've certainly seen, is it Live and Loud? The Ozzy concert. Now that one is an absolute disaster because it was filmed over multiple concerts, and there is no effort to have the video concert. There's no effort to have it actually match up with any of the music. So there's lots of repeat clips and things. That's really quite offensive. But maybe I should check out the Ultimate Ozzy. Maybe. Let me have a look. The Ultimate Ozzy, 1987. Ozzy Osbourne, The Ultimate Concert. That looks like the one. Oh, okay, so that's an unofficial release. Thank God for the bombers on this album. The Ultimate Ozzy, there we go, VHS. Oh, wow. I've never seen this before. Very small, can't really. There you go, the Ultimate Ozzy. Pretty cool. Got In the Dark, Bark at the Moon, Suicide, Never Know Why, Crowley, I don't know, Killer of Giants, Jake E. Solo, Bomb Lightning Strikes, Flying High, Secret Listener, Drum Solos, Iron Man, Crazy Train, Paranoid. Can't drop those Sabbath songs, can you, Ozzy? Okay, so I'll dig around and see if I can find any more info on that. See if I... Anyway, so feedback on the reception. At the time of its release, The Ultimate Sin was Osbourne's highest charting solo album, as heavy metal was enjoying a surge in popularity during the mid-80s. The RIAA awarded the album platinum on 14th of May. We talked about that. Soon after its release, awarded double platinum in 1994. The album sold over 2 million copies worldwide. In the UK, it was the final of 4 Osbourne albums to attain silver certification. 60 sold by the British Phonographic, and achieving this in April of 1996. Despite its achievements, Osbourne cites The Ultimate Sin as his least favourite solo album. He said that producer Ron Nevison didn't really do a great job. He has no negative feelings towards the songs on the album, but that they were just put down weird. Everything felt and sounded the fucking same. There was no imagination. If there was an album that I'd like to remix and do better, it would be The Ultimate Sin. Yeah, and as this next part says, right, so despite its initial commercial success, the Ultimate Sin was not reissued or remastered along with the majority of Ozzy's back catalogue in 2002. So, yeah, most of his stuff was that's where those god-awful, well, I say god-awful because evidently I listened to these ones growing up, but where the egregious re-recordings of the first two albums came from. That was the 2002. So no official reason was given. Rumours circulated that an ongoing legal struggle with bassist and songwriter Phil Sousa over Shot in the Dark was responsible for the album's failure to be reissued. Such reports are unfounded, though, as the only known legal proceeding between them was over an accounting issue believed to have been resolved in the early 1990s. The only CD version of The Ultimate Sin remains the 1995 remastered version, which is missing 4 measures of music between the first chorus and the second verse of Shot in the Dark, found on the original CD's vinyl copies and cassettes. Which, that's interesting. So that's all we have regarding the info on the album. And yeah, when we look at the, let's look at the album artwork. It's definitely, I'm not going to say it's a bad cover. You know, it's obviously very different to everything that Ozzy had done before this. Of course, Blizzard of Oz is him sat on the floor. Diary of a Madman is him looking crazy in the middle of a room with his son in the background. Bark at the Moon is him dressed up as a wolf. So for this one, for them to have switched over to a painting, very strange. And I assume this is supposed to be Ozzy's face, Ozzy, as the body of some sort of demon. I don't know. It's certainly a questionable album cover. Definitely a questionable album cover. I don't know where this came from. But I guess, you know, it is what it is. Just look at it. Someone saw that and thought, you know what, let's do that. Let's do that. Right, let me read some comments. Again, giving you guys a chance to go into the video's description, find the Spotify link, and find the Spotify link, get it queued up so we can listen to it together. Right, let's have a look. So this is the Susan comment. Saw Ozzy on tour for this album in Belfast. Awesome, Steve. I assume it was good. Levi, isn't that article about Steve Vai saying Ozzy was out of tune such a clickbait provocateur article? Yeah, Lee. So I spoke about this on the Guitar Souls podcast, right? And I said, I'm sure I said on there, I don't buy this. I don't believe this as being something that Steve said. And let's be realistic. The two of them worked together 20 years ago, almost 30 years ago. And Ozzy, there's no chance Ozzy remembers anything from back then. Not a fucking chance. This strikes me as the sort of thing that was just said, you know, because he's on mega press mode at the moment, mega press mode. And Steve Vai has actually responded to it and said that he absolutely does not recall having ever said this and gave all of his reasons for why he never would have said something like that. He doesn't call Ozzy a liar, but he basically calls Ozzy a liar. So that was really cool. He left that as a response to the article on Ultimate Guitar. So Richard Henry, how's it going, man? I actually think I prefer this to Bark at the Moon. I listened to both the other day. Levi, do you have a compressor or something on your voice? Some words keep dipping out. I have a noise gate on my voice. Is anyone else experiencing audio? I can turn the gate off. Hang on. I've just tweaked the noise gate settings a little bit. Hopefully that should be a little bit more of an improvement. Also, it probably doesn't help that I talk so damn fast. How's it looking? I'm going to sit with it for a bit before we do the stream, before we listen to the album. I'll get some feedback from people to see if the noise gate is improving in any way, shape or form. Of course, it could be the hotness of my... If we do that, maybe that'll improve things just a little bit. Never noticed the mushroom cloud before. Boo. Thank God for the bomb. Love the hand-painted covers of the 80s Metals albums. Love the album cover. Album cover was by Boris Velenio. He did a lot of fantasy stuff. Is it credited to him? Yeah, you're absolutely right. What he's best known for. British Fantasy Award. Amazon Princess and Her Pet. Yeah, he's been painting for a long time. It's not that regarding the album artwork. It's not that I hate the album artwork. I think the album artwork is absolutely fine. I think it's great actually. I think it's a nice piece of art. It's just so obviously out of line with the other Ozzy album covers, or at least certainly up to this point. Jakey Lee is my favourite Aussie player, such a great and underrated player. Possible chosen due to the pop heavy metal magazine, the film of the same name that was out in the early 80s. The guitar solo on that track, Fool Like You, is amazing. Sounds dropping out, fantastic. Molly Hatchet covers used his work. Got a Marshall SV20H. Just posted Lee's first solo album, very heavy. Seems better now. Yeah, the album artwork certainly, that's not the right word, certainly does look like Malmsteen's trilogy. Let's see who did the album artwork for that. It looks very much like it, doesn't it? So, of course, let's be realistic. Malmsteen's trilogy is a much, much better album cover. Bring that up. That is an amazing bit of artwork. Absolutely fantastic. Let's I wonder who did that. Let's have a look. Can't find who did it. Oh, just spot my favorite one. Doesn't say who did it. Can't seem to find who did it. I would absolutely not be surprised though. I can't play guitar, and now you can't too. So Molly Hatchet covers in that same frame, I think. Probably a marketing thing. He was trending in the 80s. Hey Levi, how do you do a cymbal swell for drums in Guitar Pro? You don't. Jake Ely got kicked out of the band because he was stealing the spotlight from Ozzy. No, I don't buy that. I think he got kicked out of the band for the same reason that Lee Kerslake and Bob Daisley got kicked out of the band, and that was he wanted his fair share. Right, so I have the album queued up. Again, if you've just tuned in, you've got another couple of minutes. Please do head on over to Spotify. The link is in the description. You can queue the album up with me. It will look like this. We'll be able to hit play on The Ultimate Sin together. We will listen to it. I will talk about it. Have a look. Interesting that George Lynch was in the band but refused to grow his hair because he had a gig. Played better at the time. You bet Sharon kicked him out and got Jake. George didn't ever play with Ozzy, did he? Have a look. George Lynch remembers his brutal Ozzy firing. You auditioned for Ozzy before Randy Rose joined the band back in the late 70s. You also auditioned after Randy's passing. Can you tell me a little bit about these auditions for Ozzy? Did you ever play any live shows with him, or did you just go on the road with him? Everything he said was accurate. As far as the shows, no, I never played a show. I played sound checks. I would travel with the band to kind of see how everything worked, and they would get to know me and that kind of thing, but I never went on stage during the show. But I would be in the wings at soundcheck, and Brad Gillis, who was the guitar player at the time, would come over and hand me his guitar, and I would play a song or two. And then we went into rehearsals. I rehearsed with them. I brought in, I brought the bass player Don Costa, who was his bass player for a little while. Rehearsed in Texas for a while. The touring was in Scotland, England, and Ireland. And then we moved everything over to Los Angeles, and that's where I was told that they wouldn't be needing my services in the 11th hour after I'd been working with them for a couple of months, but oh well. So this is a follow-up question. A few months ago, you can see it all, of course. A few months ago, I got the chance to speak to Jakey Lee, and according to his story, he came into audition for Ozzy. He kind of wasn't satisfied with the whole audition. You were there, you met him there, and apparently when Ozzy asked him if he wanted to take the gig, he said yes. And according to what Jake said, you were fired on the spot in front of Jake. Is that story true? Fuck me. Completely true. Yes. I was very devastated. My wife was with me. I had quit my job. We had 2 little kids. We lived in an apartment. We didn't really have much money, so it was a great opportunity for me. I was a delivery driver for a liquor company, and I would kind of deliver booze into the not so good areas. Nobody else wanted to drive. Okay, it was a good union job. Yeah, George. Yes, he was never in the band. So when? Well, wow. This. How old would he have been then? This is like 86. When did Dokken start up? So this is after. This would have been after the first Dokken album. Yeah, way after the first couple of Dokken albums. Tooth and Nail would have been out at that point. So it's not like he was it's not like he lost all of his big shots. Anyway, sorry. Have a look. These comments. Perry Farrell was the name. James Diction. Comments coming in thick and fast. There we go. There's me talking about that. Anyway, right. So we've got the album queued up. The Ultimate Sin. We're going to kick this thing off in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, instantly, like it's a little bit heavier than Bark at the Moon. Anything on Bark at the Moon. Jake's chordal style is really cool. It's a good riff. I like the layering of the guitars, the heavy overdriven part and the clean part. So I know I can't say Ozzy doesn't really sound like he's into it because I'm putting the story into that, aren't I? Everything I've read. Those chorus guitar parts are really cool though. Well, hello. Let's wire it up. I feel there could be some vocal harmonies, you know. Very nice. No offensive keyboards yet. And thinking back to Bark at the Moon, which was just full of those keyboard parts. That was cool. I would say that guitar solo is probably, well, aside from Bark at the Moon, the song, it's probably better than just about any of the guitar solo sections on any of Bark at the Moon. Drums are quite dry. For a rock or metal album in 1986, that's a very dry snare drum. Yeah, I can kind of see the thing that people give Jake all that attention for. Because his rhythm work is very good. When you compare his rhythm work to Randy's, it's much more creative. Okay. You have to give it to you. It's not as good as Bark at the Moon, that song, but it's good. I love those chords. They're overdriven, but not to the point where you can't have notes other than the root and the fifth in there. I do like this song. I've always liked this song. And the chorus is really good in it. Loser. Vocal harmony. Secret loser. That's what we need. Loser. I'm a secret loser. I have no idea what that album is, Steve. And again, comparing it to the Bark at the Moon, still no offensive keyboard parts. That's cool, leading into the chorus. I mean, this is better than Bark at the Moon. This is definitely better than Bark at the Moon. Bark at the Moon's got some great moments, but I don't think Bark at the Moon has two really good songs, not next to each other. So far, we've had two good songs right next to each other. It's a nice build. If it's the first time you're hearing it, you know it's going somewhere, but where is it going? Like that strong melody. Tight. Oh yeah. Not crazy on this spot. Yeah, and I didn't. I don't think that was as guitar solo was. I don't think that was as good as the Ultimate Sin. It had that vibe of that tapping bit, panned left and right. It felt to me like this is 1986 guitar shrapnel starting to kick off around this point. Like it felt like he was doing something to show off the technical. You know, this is what I'm capable of. Nobody's ever going to remember Jakey Lee as being one of the technical greats of the instrument. Is that fair? Creative great. Don't get me wrong, but his lead guitar playing's just is what it is. I don't think that tapping part needed to be there. Got some nice dynamics. Yeah, those harmonics are really cool. Loser, I'm a secret loser. And I keep saying that like I'm really into. It's not that I've always really been into that aspect of Ozzy's songs. The things that really grab me is his vocal harmonies. I love the way he harmonizes his vocal lines because Ozzy's got such a unique voice. So to not take full advantage of that. Right, never know why. Oh, that flat 5e thing. Still not a ballad, so oh yeah, of course, another song and the vocal harmony. Ah, okay, the song's coming back to me now. Yep. Uh, so of all of Ozzy's albums, this is definitely the one that I've spent the least time with. Don't think it's the strongest song of the three so far, but rock, 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 we rock, rock. A bit cheesy. Jake likes his big bends. Little double stops in there. They're kind of cool. It's a little bit of keyboard, but no, again, some of those keyboard parts in Bark at the Moon are just. Someone should have been fired for those. So, certainly not my favourite song on the album. But Is there something that a bit vapid, you know? It's like in terms of content, like in terms of what are you trying to say here? What is the song about? It feels very let's just write a generic anthem for teenagers. It's another thing to note. The songs on this album are all a lot shorter than the Bark at the Moon track listing. All the songs on that are like 5 minutes long. Okay, so we're heading on to Thank God for the Bomb in 15 seconds. So if you've joined recently and you're looking to catch up, we are heading on to Thank God for the Bomb. That'll be happening in 5 seconds. Thank God for the Bomb. I remember the vocal melody in the chorus to this one being odd. Oh, super tremolo. But at least it's a rock song. Nice little modulation for the verse. Clean guitar's very cool. Yeah. The how would you call it? Like the panned delayed vocal thing that goes across your head there is like reminds me of the Offspring. Nuka nuka. Terrible. Don't know how I feel about the keyboard line behind Ozzy's vocal. Nuka nuka. Hello, Jake. Nice little really cool sweep and fill there. Nice chord changes. This is Jake developing as a songwriter, definitely. Hello. This is really going through some chords. Like that. Nuka nuka. Hello. That was a smashing solo. Really nice solo. He doesn't have anything as in your face as that on Bark. Do it again. Nuka nuka. Awful. So he's using a tremolo now. That was a cool little lick there. I'm not sure how he did that. Very creative. Nice. Nice. So to me, it's kind of like we talked about Randy Rhoads and how he was often compared to Eddie Van Halen. I don't think he had anything in common with Eddie. I think Jake's got a lot more in common with Eddie. I think sometimes he can be a little bit over the top with those fills, those ones there. Yeah, Dylan, his chords are great. That was a dive bomb there, though. I mean, guys, I'm a bend behind the nut guy. You can't bend behind the nut and make your string go down in pitch. Not as crazy on this song. But again, I appreciate the fact that we are halfway through the album. We've not had a single fucking ballad. Bark at the Moon should be renamed Ballad at the Moon. Da, 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 da. Okay, yeah. The bridge is cool in this song. Very cool. Shame about that drum sound, though, right? That there, boo! That's lower than his guitar is tuned to. You can't pre-bend that. Hello, a bit of Steve Vai there. That could have been Steve Vai. Some of the guitar playing might be a bit busy for me on this. I don't think his guitar playing needed to be quite as busy as it is, but I like the mix on this. He's been given a little bit. Well, the song's been given a little bit more space to breathe. Vocal harmonies. Lightning strikes again. Keyboard part's a little bit, maybe a bit over the top in the second part of that chorus. The guitar playing's not as overbearing on this though, but again, it's kind of like Never Know Why. You know, we rock, 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 and this one's rock it all night, rock it. It feels a bit generic. When you compare this to the darkness that you get on Diary of a Madman, that album's moody. It's playing on that occult thing. And this is just a little bit meh. Yeah, I think that what Dylan says there is kind of the point. It's very cheesy. It's aged, and obviously anything old ages, but some things age better than others. And to me, Diary of a Madman and Blizzard Oliver has aged a little bit better. That's a nice solo. Honestly, I feel that this song would be better if they literally just changed rocking all night" into better lyrics. Yeah, it was a great solo, Ian. I think, if I have to pay this album a compliment, a really big compliment, if you are looking for really impressive guitar playing, like really cool guitar playing, I think this is so far of Ozzy's catalogue. This one is the peak of guitar playing. People hold Randy in like high regard as being one of the greatest guitar players of all time. He wasn't an amazing player technically. He was a great guitar player, don't get me wrong, but like he certainly wasn't like world changingly good. He was just very creative. He had a musical vision, which was very cool. Whereas with this is like Randy could never have played this. I think if I was, obviously I wasn't even born when this album came out, but if I was maybe 15 when this album came out, I would have been working really fucking hard to learn these things because they're super super cool. Some really really cool guitar parts, and another solo, like yeah. I guess another way of putting it is this album is what 15-year-old guitar playing Levi wants, but now I'm in my 30s. 30-year-old Levi doesn't want this. 30-year-old Levi wants the songs. 30-year-old Levi wants the atmosphere. 30-year-old Levi wants the picture, the story to buy into. And this, with the vapid fucking rocking all night and we rock. It's very kind of rock of ages. That doesn't speak to me as much as when I go back and listen to Diary or Blizzard. And of course, my criticism of Blizzard after re-listening to Diary and really thinking about it is that Blizzard is a little bit, it bounces around in terms of its theme. There's blues songs, there's rock songs, there's neoclassical moments on there, whereas Diary is consistent in theme. Lovely chord changes. Is Jake trying to have his Diary of a Madman moment? Again, when looking into the album, this was the album was originally going to be called Killer of Giants. I'm really glad some of you guys are digging these album listening parties. I really enjoy them, to be honest. It's maybe a bit long, the intro. It's a minute and a half. That's nice. Never put the word "if the button is pushed" in a rock song. Can someone please explain this to Benjamin? So, do I have to point out the obvious contradiction in terms of theme of the album? On the one hand, you've got these really cheesy fucking songs where you're talking about rocking, and that's absolutely fine. But then you've got songs like Thank God for the Bomb, which is about war, and then Killer of Giants, which is also about nuclear war, right? But Thank God for the Bomb and Killer of Giants take a completely different idea in terms of that approach to war. Killer of Giants is very much war is terrible. We shouldn't be at war. We don't want to. This isn't something we should be doing. Whereas Thank God for the Bomb is if this is where we're going, well, thank God it's happening. Which is it? Killer of Giants threatens us all, or Thank God for the Bomb? Nukia, nukia. It's very glam, yeah. Did Jake maybe fly a little bit too close to the sun with this? The first minute and a half of this was guitar. Now we've got a long solo in the middle. It almost feels like the solo was a lot more important than the song. So Killer of Giants is absolutely one of the songs that I remember from, when I was younger. I feel it's been the weakest song so far. It's what Taylor just said there is absolutely fantastic, right? To me, it highlights what these listening parties do. You listen to these albums in levels of details that you've probably never done before. So I have to say that was the weakest song so far on the album for me, but I can confidently say that this album is definitely better than Bark at the Moon. Definitely better than Bark at the Moon. Thus far, I would say The Ultimate Sin has been the best song, and probably because it's in drop D. Hello, Screaming Harmonics. Very odd choice to put Shot in the Dark last. Very, very odd choice. That's cool. I assume they never played this live, because you're never going to do a good job of that live, are you? Oh, nice chord change at the end there. I'm going to give you guys a test, okay? So Shot in the Dark is coming up next. Now, we all know that it's not in standard tuning. That song is not recorded and played in standard tuning, okay? Can anyone remember what tuning the guitar is in for that without looking? Benjamin, we are on Full Like You. We are 1 minute 30 into Full Like You. Of course, there's going to be a delay in the chat, though, so... So there's all these answers and none of them are right. We'll talk about the tuning when it comes on. Or at least how I'm pretty sure that it's tuned. It would be embarrassing if I was wrong, right? To be fair, nothing's as embarrassing as having the realisation that you grew up listening to the 2002 reissues of Diary and Blizzard. I was going to say no over-the-top guitar playing on this song, but of course there was the harmonics at the intro. Shot in the Dark seems like an odd song. I don't know if it fits with the rest of the album, but I do still think it is the best song on the album. That is a hit song. That's a great song. So now the chord progression in this is very dark, but not in an occult way, you know, not in the like a Sabbath way, but more in a foreboding way. The answer, I'm relatively sure, someone can check this, I'm going on memory here, is F, D flat, G. Good song. You see what I mean though about the song, about these songs being very foreboding. They sound ominous rather than satanic. That's a nice solo. So the logic behind that tuning, and some people have already pointed out, they said the low 2 strings are tuned up a tone. It is kind of that, but they're not. The guitar is tuned down a half step. It's tuned to E flat, E flat, E flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, E flat, and then those low 2 strings are tuned up a tone again. So everything tuned down a half step with the low 2 strings tuned up a tone. Now, of course, that's such a cool lick. Hello, Osbourne Studios. How's it going in Lithuania? This is a great song. It's a banging chorus. Yeah, the album's been reinstated. We say this, Daniel, but he has consistently found the best musicians to work with to do that. 2002, Dylan. We're not talking about guitars, Osmium. Killer song, it really is. Let's be realistic, okay? So this album is twice platinum in the States. This song is the reason for that. One step away from you. I'm not a front man. I'm a backing vocalist. I love playing guitar and singing backing vocals. That was my thing in Hellcat Molly. And there's our slide. Yeah! I'm going to do it. I'm not really matching the themes. Yeah. Nice chord change in there. It's a nice solo. I always want to rewind it, but then of course you'll miss the listening party thing. Yeah. Pick tapping at the end, right? One step away from you. Okay. Oh, it's nothing that you can do. Nothing that you can do. Always creeping up on you. Of course, it's nowhere near as heavy as you'd like it to be. That's a really interesting way of thinking of him, Colin, yeah. Now, of course, when we were reading the Wikipedia entry for the album, oh, that was a really cool fill. When we were reading the Wikipedia entry for the album, performance in. Oh, what does it say this? just gone on to Hellraiser, the No More Tears. So where is that bit of text? Yeah, so the only available CD version of the Ultimate Sin remains the 1995 remastered version, which is missing 4 measures of music between the first chorus and second verse of Shot in the Dark, found on the original CDs, vinyl copies, and cassettes. So I would love to see a comparison of those two things and see what was cut, and I'd love to find out why. I'd love to hear someone's input on why they decided to cut those bits. Yeah, very, very interesting. Such a strange thing to do. So there we go. Right, what are my thoughts on it? What are my thoughts on the Ultimate Sin? Obviously, people aren't going to like it, right? Nobody is going to like this. Well, the Jake Lee fans aren't going to like this, right? This album isn't close to the Randy albums, to me, at least. And I'm not coming at that from a nostalgia perspective. Like, I was born in 1988, okay? So I didn't grow up with any of these albums. These are albums I've gone back to and listened to, right? So the Randy albums, Blizzard of Oz is fantastic. And it's got some amazing moments on it. But it's not a well-themed album. It's a bit of this and a bit of that. Diary of a Madman has a theme from start to finish. It's dark. It's moody. It's playing on that occult thing. The guitar playing, it's not nowhere near as cutting edge as this Jake Lee stuff. Nowhere near as cutting edge. But yeah, kind of is what it is. Then you got to Bark at the Moon. Got some good moments on it. I would say that, Bark at the Moon, the song, is better than any of the songs on this album. I would say that Slow Down is probably maybe not as good as Shot in the Dark. Maybe. But aside from that, I think the album is full of really bad keyboard parts. I was quite shocked to hear them. Some cool guitar moments, but too many ballads, way too many ballads. When you come onto this album, they talk about this one being successful due to the resurgence of, let me bring that quote back up. Talk about, where is it? Reception. At time of release, Ultimate Sin, highest charting studio album, as heavy metal was enjoying a surge in popularity during the mid-1980s. And yeah, I can kind of... this is what you might think of as anthem rock, right? All those songs where you're singing... Like, rock music shouldn't sing about rock. Rock music shouldn't sing about the things that you need to do to be part of the club, to be one of us. We rock, rock, rock. Like, shut up. It's so fucking cringe-inducing. Cringe-embarrassing, that's not a word. So cringe-inducing, that lyric. So I don't like that. And Lightning Strike, same again. Rockin' all night, rockin' all night. Why don't you rock yourself off a fucking cliff? You absolute embarrassment to music. Whoever wrote those lyrics, you should be embarrassed. So you have songs like that are so cheesy. I can't see anyone looking back on this album, which is now, 34 years old, looking back on this album and going, yeah, those still stand up, because they don't. And I can't imagine that lyrics like that even stood up at the time. I don't think anyone, well, I hope no one ever thought they were cool. Whereas the better moments on the album, which for me, to be honest, are The Ultimate Sin and Shot in the Dark. Those are the two strongest songs on the album, in my opinion. They still, theme-wise, they're still very different. Very, very different. The Ultimate Sin is very dark, very heavy, very heavy. And I love the fact that this album starts with heavy guitars. Shot in the Dark is super pop. It's so different. But you can see why Shot in the Dark was the lead single, because that's a song that's going to sell. So I totally get on board with that. Ultimate Sin, like I say, very strong song. Outside of that, there are some good moments. Secret Loser is a good song. Secret Loser is actually a very good song. Never Know Why, not crazy on that one. Thank God for the Bomb. Well, obviously I had to talk about Thank God for the Bomb and Killer of Giants. I still feel... Which is it? Are we rocking? Are we... Everything's cool and we rock and we stand together? Yeah, we rock. Or are we talking about really heavy, serious things like the threat of nuclear war? So that's kind of my thoughts on The Ultimate Sin. I don't think thematically it glues as well together as Diary of a Madman, but I do think it is better than Bark at the Moon, and Ozzy will be raging at me for saying that. So thus far, I'm still going to have to put Diary of a Madman at the top. I'm still going to have to put Blizzard of Oz underneath that. I'm going to have to put The Ultimate Sin underneath that. And then Bark at the Moon at the bottom, which I never thought I would say. I never ever thought I would say that I think The Ultimate Sin is better than Bark at the Moon, but I absolutely think The Ultimate Sin is better than Bark at the Moon. From a guitar playing perspective, if you are looking to be a shit hot guitar player and you want to learn about how to take your guitar playing to the next level, if that's how you're grading these albums, The Ultimate Sin absolutely goes at the top. There is some unbelievably cool guitar playing on this album. Really, really cool guitar playing. Randy's got loads of really cool creative guitar things on those first two albums, but they're nowhere near as cutting edge as some of this stuff. You could make the argument that it's a little bit Eddie Van Halen in places, but still supremely creative, and I do enjoy that. I talked about Randy versus Eddie a lot. Like the notion that Randy was cutting edge when you consider that Eddie Van Halen was a thing on the scene. Like Randy wasn't pushing all that many technical boundaries, I don't think. And for anyone that says, yeah, Eddie was a blues rocker though, and Randy was doing a little bit more of the neoclassical thing. Well, Uli John Roth had been doing the neoclassical thing for a lot longer before, you know. So I love Randy. I love those albums. They paint a picture. Awesome. But this is really cutting edge guitar playing. Certainly for the time at least. Of course, after this we are going to be heading on to No Rest for the Wicked. And that's the introduction of Zakk Wylde to the world. And love him or hate him, we cannot discount his influence on the rock guitar world. And obviously I'm a big fan of Zakk Wylde, so expect some arguing on the comments to those. Right, so that's my thoughts on The Ultimate Sin. What do you guys think? Let me know. I'm going to check out the comments now and see what we've got. So, lightning strikes on it. Yeah, great tune. Revisit this. Just join the stream. Yeah, Gyro, check the stream afterwards, man. 1995 CD version and the 86 cassette version. So Tailed rates the albums Diary, Ultimate Sin, Blizzard, Bark at the Moon. Very different to what I used to think. Yeah, so it's a difficult one for me. Definitely Blizzard and Ultimate Sin. I'm teetering on if I would turn those round. And I think the only reason I haven't turned them round is because while the Ultimate Sin has the Ultimate Sin and Shot in the Dark, which I think are the strongest moments, Blizzard of Oz has Crazy Train, which is kind of your equivalent of Shot in the Dark, right, in terms of pop song that's going to be popular. But it also has Revelation. And I love the song Revelation. I think Revelation is just a beautiful, beautiful song. So Revelation kind of pushes it in the direction of that. Outside of that, I Don't Know is on that album. Suicide Solution is on that album, and Mr. Crowley is on that album. So they're all like really classic Ozzy Osbourne songs. And I think for that reason, I have to put Blizzard above the Ultimate Sin. But I totally respect you picking that one. So, dude, rock bands trying to sound like social outcasts because of rock while selling out arenas is the dumbest shit ever. Yeah. This album smokes the new Ozzy record, though. Oh, absolutely. No fucking doubt about that. You know what's craziest about the new Ozzy album? Let me read something for you on Wikipedia. Check this out. Just give me a second. I'm actually mortified at this. Absolutely mortified. So if you go and look at the critical reception for Ordinary Man, the latest Ozzy Osbourne album, Ordinary Man received generally positive reviews from contemporary music critics at Metacritic, which assigns a normalized rating out of 100 to reviews from mainstream publications. The album received an average score of 77 based on 14 reviews, indicating generally favourable reviews. All music critic Fred Thomas gave the album a mostly positive review, writing that although it has a few weaker songs, it was Osbourne's best album in years. What are you talking about, you absolute fucking cretin? These fucking clout chasers that go, Ozzy's in the press a lot. We've got to say good things about Ozzy. Oh, he's working with Post Malone and he's working with Post Malone's producer. We've got to say good things about Ozzy. It's like I've done this run on the Guitar Souls podcast before, but years ago when Ozzy was in London and Guns N' Roses were in London and Kerrang went down and reviewed both gigs and they gave Ozzy 5Ks and they gave Guns N' Roses 1K. And they publish that bullshit and expect anybody to believe that's anything other than your fucking publication's bias is astonishing to say Ozzy, who, and this is back in, well, when would this have been? Like 2000 and maybe 2009, sometime around then, to even begin to suggest, no, it wouldn't have been then. Jesus, when would that have been? I don't even think when that would have been. 2013. 2000, something like, you get what I'm getting at, right? For them to say that Ozzy was at his peak and he deserved 5Ks, man could barely fucking stand up and sing at the time. And yeah, all right, you don't like Axl Rose in the way he conducts business, right? And he makes his fans wait around. But when he goes up and he plays for 3 hours and he puts on a good show. And to give that 1K, astonishing, right? So the music press, they love to give Ozzy a pat on the back and say, you're great. But it's a sin that you pathetic critics are saying that Ozzy Osbourne's latest album, Ordinary Man, is the best album that he's released in years. Well, technically, let's read that quote again. It was Osbourne's best album in years. Well, yeah, to be fair, it has been 10 years since he released an album. So technically it is his best album. It's Ozzy's album of the decade. I'll give you that. Can't really argue with that. But no, it's not. It's Ozzy's worst album. No doubt in my mind about that. Apart from the song Little Green Men, there's nothing on that album worth listening to. So, right, let me continue reading. Couldn't agree more. Music-wise, it kicks ass. Ozzy's voice is great. Have you listened to live Randy Rhoads? Of course I have. Yeah, of course I have. That didn't come out after this. That came out before Bark at the Moon came out, did it not? Sure, that came out before Bark at the Moon. Let's have a look. Could be wrong on the date on that. Oh shit, okay, that was released in 87. I thought it was earlier than that. That came out a year before I was born. I don't intend to listen to tribute. No, I have no interest in listening to tribute because it's a live album. And if you want to go down that route of listening to live albums, because I'm obviously trying to go through Ozzy's entire discography, I'm going to be here a long time if I start listening to live albums as well. So yeah, I'm not doing tribute. Although tribute is great. In fact, Randy Rhoads playing Children of the Grave on that is so cool. I absolutely love that version of Children of the Grave. He puts a few extra notes into the riff that just really make it sound super cool. Music, do I have any lessons on playing lines as soon as the chords go by? Reactive ear training stuff. Not really the stream for it, man. Just check out my lessons playlist on YouTube. Tuning is the top E string tuned up 2 steps with the A string tuned up 2 steps, so your E. Is it though? It's that, but down a semitone. Song's in F, isn't it? Not F sharp. I should check that, shouldn't I? Yeah, by the looks of things, it's what you're saying, but it's half a step down, but then with those low strings tuned up. It's an F, not an F sharp. Of course, I could check that, but I don't want to get a copyright strike. So, yeah. Anyway, let me read the rest of these comments. Revelation is probably my favourite Ozzy tune, song. To be fair, yeah, I agree with you on that, Toad. It's a great one. So. That's single-handedly why I can't discount Blizzard's great record, just for that moment. Well, Tailed, you should rectify that. Tribute is great. The melody part he puts in the solo in the Children of the Grave is cool, yeah. Levi, can you recommend a guitar course? Blues rock, learning guitar now, blues... I don't know what either of those things are. Oh, okay, learning guitar now. Well, if it's something on John Tuggle's site, Learning Guitar Now, then I can recommend it, because I've done a lot of transcriptions for John's website, and I absolutely love his stuff. Matthew, then turn the stream off. Turn it off right now. I'm gonna end the stream in a minute, and you'll be able to go back and listen to the entire thing, won't you? So you've not missed it. You can still watch it. You can still leave comments. Leave comments on the video after the fact, and I'll be reading them. I'll get back to you. Anything you comment, I will be reading it. Right, let me do the usual thing. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Huge thank you to my supporters over on Patreon. You guys allow me to do these things, so if you would like to check me out on Patreon, there is a link in the description. Great way to support the channel, great way to support the work that I do. And yeah, it means that I can do more of these. I am hoping to do No Rest for the Wicked. I'm not going to make a commitment on when I'm going to do that. I would imagine maybe Wednesday. So that one should be fun, because it's Zakk Wylde, and I like Zakk Wylde. So yeah, as I say, please do check me out on Patreon if you would like to support the channel financially. You can also do that by pressing the join button. There's a join button next to the subscribe button. That's how you become a YouTube VIP. It's not quite the same thing as Patreon, but they all get you access to my private Facebook group, which is the important thing, right? If you don't want to do that, you can head on over to Amazon and you can search for Levi Clay. You will see all of my books if you do that. And yeah, they are another great way to support the channel and get something cool in return, of course. With my latest one being 100 slide licks for blues guitar. So do check that one out. If you would like to learn something about slide guitar, blues guitar, that may be the source for you. And please do go and check my friends out at VPix. Vinny at VPix does fabulous work. Big fan of everything he does. I've been using his picks exclusively for 10 years. Literally 10 years now. I'm just moving all my slides out of the way so I can actually grab some fucking VPix. So many slides. Why do I have so many slides? I don't know, for some reason the Fusion was the first V-pick I picked up there. Not the pick I actually use more than... Where is my fucking medium pointed? I go through them like anything. I just drop them and go, cool, I'll get another one. There's one. Medium pointed, this was one of the new finishes that I just got recently. Is apparently, swirl acrylic picks. Why not? Why not? Yeah, anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Really does mean a lot. I'm just seeing if there are any more comments. Oh, good point. Yeah, Dylan, lip syncing shot in the dark. I'm going to get the copyright strikes for that. Such is life. Right, much love, guys, and I will catch you for another stream soon. Actually, I have a really cool video going live tomorrow. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. UK time. It's a collaboration with another big YouTuber, and I mean a big YouTuber. I'm not talking like my pathetic tiny little channel. I'm talking a channel literally 100 times bigger than my channel, over 300,000 subs. So it's going to be a really cool video, and I hope you guys do check that out and enjoy it. Right, so much love. That's a tease, right? Much love, and I'll see you for another video soon. Goodbye.